Basic accounting has stayed pretty much the same for generations, decades, hundreds of years. But business always evolves. And sometimes there are things that occur in businesses that force changes onto the accounting world. And we're accountants, we don't like change. So today we're going to investigate the Emerging Issues Task Force. Welcome to Accounting How To. I'm your host, Carolyn Grimm, and that's my sidekick, Terrence, who never changes. We're here to put the fun in accounting fundamentals. So as things change in business, accounting also has to address those changes so that everyone is doing things the same way in the accounting world. What we don't want to have happen is that we've got one CPA firm that decides they're going to do things one way and another CPA firm that decides they're going to do something else completely different. And then this spreads on out through the industry, and suddenly one accounting issue is being treated 20 different ways. So the Emerging Issues Task Force seeks to prevent that from happening by identifying things early and making determinations on how best to treat that issue from an accounting perspective. Let's say that issue has to do with how cannabis businesses track or report some item. Now, this certainly was a big change for the accounting world because they had to suddenly start dealing with cannabis businesses and how to track or report some item. Maybe it's a revenue recognition issue or some question as to how a cannabis business reports certain business expenses. So the EITF's job is to identify what those issues are and begin to understand and build consensus in the accounting world as to how best to record whatever the transactions are in question. So the EITF organization provides assistance to the Financial Accounting Standards Board, the FASB, to determine improvements and changes to the financial reporting system. So they're the ones out front of FASB saying, hey, we've got this thing going on, and we're probably going to need to bring it to FASB to make changes in the accounting standards. So the EITF was created in 1984 by FASB to develop a uniform set of accounting principles and to address the issues as they arose. So it's much more the cutting edge of accounting standards, if there is such a thing. So what the EITF does is it identifies topics that need clarification, and then it discusses them and decides what the best accounting treatment of an issue is, and then it issues that guidance for a uniform application of that accounting treatment so that we're all on the same page and all the CPAs are doing it the same way. So the EITF tries to address those issues early before CPA firms are having to figure out how to do this on their own. And that helps to prevent that widespread disbursement of maybe they're not doing it the right way or the best way or the approved way because it doesn't exist yet. So it's trying to get ahead of that getting kind of disseminated out there that we're going to do things this way and then having to go back and change the way that people have done things. Maybe we're going to have to re-report something, or we're going to have to restate our financial statements. So once the EITF reaches a consensus, they take that to FASB, and FASB will generally accept the conclusion of EITF. If EITF can't reach a consensus on an issue, then FASB may need to take further action within their own board. And obviously, as new businesses come about that have special accounting needs, like, for example, cannabis businesses, that's the point where the EITF is really valuable in saying, okay, how are we going to deal with these changes? And what the EITF will do is they'll reach out to various CPA societies and CPA firms and get their opinions on the topic, whatever it is. They're going to discuss and research those topics, and then they're going to reach a consensus. And then whatever that decision is, that new guidance is going to be included in FASB's accounting standards. So that's what the EITF is up to. They're on the cutting edge of accounting, if there is such a thing. Until next time, stay balanced, my friends.